When people find out what I do for a living, they often ask me, what's your favorite Mustang? And it's obviously a very, very hard question to answer. I mean, I guess when it comes to stock Mustangs, probably the 65 350R would be one of my favorites of all time. When you're talking modified Mustangs, that question gets a lot harder to answer. We have a lot of modified Mustangs we built in CJs we're pretty proud of, like our Project 5030 and Smoke Show parked here behind me. But picking my top 5 favorite would be very, very difficult to do, but today we're going to give it a shot. So what we're going to do is give you my favorite Mustang from each generation and a couple honorable mentions as well. So we'll start off with the classic Mustang. My first one honorable mention is going to be the Mach 40. Now the Mach 40 was built by Eckert's Rod and Custom, and it's a 69 Mustang basically combined with a 2006 Ford GT. It has the Ford GT engine mid-mounted in the 69, and the car has been widened and lowered, and it's just absolutely amazing. Took the best styling cues from the 69 and the GT40 and made one absolutely amazing custom car out of it. The next classic on my list is going to come from the Ring Brothers, and if you know the Ring Brothers, pretty much any classic they built would easily make this list, but for me it's BAILOUT. BAILOUT is an amazing car because not only is it show car, the car actually works as it's competed in Optima. It's got a 427 Windsor engine, 6-speed transmission, complete total control suspension, and just an amazing color and tons of those custom cues to make the Ring Brothers cars really stand out from the crowd. For anyone who attended the 2018 SEMA show, number one will probably not be a surprise, but it's the CORRUPTT Mustang built by American Legends Hot Rods. Now the CORRUPTT started off as a 68 Mustang coupe, but pretty much has been rebuilt from front to back. Under the hood is a Ferrari engine stolen from a 430 with a pair of twin turbos mounted to the front. Everything on the car has been customized, from the roof being chopped, quarter's been modified, trunk's been modified. I mean, front to back, there are so many small touches on this car that literally you can walk around it for an hour and every time find something new. Open up inside, high tech throughout. I mean, again, attention to detail on this car is second to none, making it a somewhat easy choice for my favorite classic Mustang. Now moving on to the Fox body Mustangs, and again, there are a ton of cars here that are worthy of contention. My first honorable mention though is going to be Robert Miller's 81 Mustang known as the Wicked Stepsister. Now he's built several really nice Fox body Mustangs, but in my opinion the Wicked Stepsister is the best one yet. Started off as a very rough 81 coupe he pretty much drug out of a field and built an amazing car. It's got an 03 Cobra engine with a Whipple under the hood, making over 700 horsepower, custom touches front to back, Capri fenders in the front, Capri fenders in the rear, a killer custom tan paint job. Again, this is a car where the details front to back are absolutely amazing. The best part about it is he drives this thing everywhere. I've seen it at several different shows and on the road, and it's definitely a car to check out if you ever see it in person. The next honorable mention goes out to Sin is Built, and he's got a couple killer Fox bodies, actually 3 total. His pace car, his white Project Recoupe, and his latest creation, Retro Fox. He tends to take all the best things about the Fox body, improves on them, yet keeps that vintage feel with lots of custom touches throughout. All 3 of these cars are definitely worthy and definitely something you want to check out. Number 1 on my list is a car I actually saw for the first time probably 7 years ago, and that is Top Notch from Chrome Creations. And we saw this car at the SEMA show. At the time it was painted red. I believe it's actually blue now. But this car was built for mile racing, and it is absolutely crazy front to back. I remember seeing this car at the show. I walked around it for probably an hour looking at the details. Under the hood, Illuminator engine, top with a Vortex supercharger, making around 850 horsepower. Custom tube frame chassis actually sets the engine back behind the front axle, and the car only weighs 2,400 pounds. So given that weight and that kind of power, you know this thing's an absolute rocket. You know, it is built for the track with a full cage inside and a custom interior, yet the details front to back of this car would make it a show winner as well. Now we're getting the SN95 and New Edge Mustangs, and again, there's so many nice cars. It was really tough to choose here. My first honorable mention is going to be UPR's Limited Street Mustang. This is an SN95 Cobra painted in a beautiful comp orange. Great looking race car, does half-track wheelies, runs bottom eights, has won multiple championships. Absolutely a crazy car at the track and always a contender when it shows up at a race. Next on my list, SVT Baker's Terminator. Now, if you've ever been to Mustang Week to any after-hours event, you know this car as he does the best burnouts ever, and the crowd just goes nuts when he shows up. This car makes over 1,400 horsepower, is street-driven, again does amazing burnouts, and also runs single-digit ETs at the track, all by being a street car that looks pretty calm when you actually see it. Definitely an easy one for honorable mention. Now my favorite SN might be a bit of a surprise, but it's going to be the Super Stallion. This was put together by John Coletti and the Special Vehicle Engineering team back in 1998. The Super Stallion was ahead of its time and showcased a lot of what was coming for Ford. Had a 5.4-liter dual overhead cam engine with a supercharger on it, independent rear suspension, killer brake setup off of an Indy car, and a paint job that you can see a mile away and is definitely memorable. Now, it made 590 horsepower, which by today's standards isn't that impressive, but back then it really was, and that car showcased a lot of what was to come from SVT. Now let's get into the S197 Mustangs. Without a doubt, this was the hardest category, as there are a ton of badass S197 Mustangs floating around. My first honorable mention is going to go to the SNOT Rocket, owned by Brett LaSala. Now, obviously, we have a thing for Gotta Have It green Mustangs around here, and this is the nicest one I have ever seen. Again, show car detail front to back. This car is absolutely beautiful. Plus, it makes over 2,000 horsepower, runs well into the 7.25 mile, and he has plans of going even faster. And if you're ever at an event and get to see this car up close, definitely check it out. Like I said, the attention to detail is absolutely amazing. The next on my list, and again, this was a hard choice, was going to be Justin Young's GT500. Now, as the owner of Mod Motor Mustangs, he has to have a badass Mod Motor car, and the GT500 fits the bill. Again, over 1,000 rear wheel horsepower, parachute out back, and a killer pearl white wrap. Best thing about this car, he's not a normal quarter-mile racer. He actually races half-mile and 1-mile events with plans of topping over 200 miles an hour. One of my favorite things about this car, a few years ago at a car show down in Pigeon Forge, I actually saw him cruising around in the rain and snow with his car, making it a very, very capable street car. And now for number one on my list, again, really hard decision. With so many killer drag cars, I kind of went a different direction. It's going to be Jonathan BLEVINS' GT500. His 08 GT500 runs in the Optimus Street Car Shootout and was the first Mustang ever to win a title. Features Coyote power plant with a supercharger on it, custom Cortex suspension, and again, amazing detail front to back. Show car quality looks, and a car that actually competes and wins at the track. Even has a killer sound system in it, making it definitely the ultimate street car. Now the final category, the final generation, the S550 Mustang. And again, like the S197, this was very difficult to choose 3 of them, but we'll start with the honorable mentions. First one is going to come from our friends over at Lund Racing, and that is the Blue Goose, their 2015 Mustang. Now, the Blue Goose was a test bed and probably most famous for its all 4 wheels off the ground launch at MIR a couple years back. But this car, thanks to constant testing, has run in the 7s with a 6R80 transmission, and a lot of the tuning you get from Lund for your S550 came from them working on this car. Now the next one on my list, a lot of you guys may not know about, and that is Ghost 5.0. Now Ghost 5.0 is an outlaw street car based out of Detroit, which is also a grudge car. So how fast is this car? Well, you better have deep pockets and a lot of horsepower if you want to find out, but it is definitely probably one of the fastest S550s around, and it's a full street car with all steel and all glass still on board. Definitely a car you want to check out if you ever see it at the track. And now number one for my S550, again, is going to be a really tough choice, but it's got to be Brown Sugar. Brown Sugar is an Outlaw 10.5 car owned by Tim Essex. One of the best things about this car, it was built in his garage. The paint, engine, the entire car front to back was home built in a 3-car garage down in Maryland, and the car is gorgeous. The paint is unbelievable. The attention to detail is next level. And within a few months of him building this car, he was already setting records, running bottom 6s at over 220 miles an hour and winning best appearing race car everywhere it goes. Again, if you're ever at an event where this car is there, definitely swing by the pits and get a closer look. It's an absolutely amazing car. Now, obviously, with all the killer custom Mustangs out there, picking out 15 worthy cars and even coming down to 5 was pretty difficult, and I don't believe you guys are actually going to agree with everything I had to say, but again, these are my opinions, and these are cars that if you haven't checked them out, I definitely suggest doing so, as there's some pretty amazing Mustangs.